Hey, Richest Money Maniacs, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about the attitude of gratitude and why it's so beneficial. Let's get right to it. Hey everybody, this is Tom from Richest. Welcome back to another episode. In this video, I want to discuss something that has become pretty much a big challenge for most of the world, actually. It's really interesting to see so many people take so much for granted. And so this video is about having an attitude of gratitude and that effect. But it isn't just that simple. It isn't just about you having a good attitude or optimism or being nice to people. It's about something much, much more important. And that is providing a good model for the rest of the world, not just for young people, but for other adults. You know, there are a lot of people who grow up in the world and they never ever see kindness, or they never see actually what it means to be a good person, a stand-up citizen. In fact, if you're a stand-up citizen, or you're a good Samaritan, or you're a good person on a regular basis in the media, in movies, in songs, in all kinds of art, people make fun of that. And so it's actually frowned upon or laughed at as, oh, you're a good person, or even worse, you're smart. You're somebody that studies. Oh, that's so dumb. What a loser, spending all your time in books or being nice. Think about that for a second. That's what's being foisted on everyone, is that it's cool to not be nice and to have so much money and so much power that you can just tell people, take a hike. So a wonderful person to actually point at as somebody who's really, really good at that is Gary Vaynerchuck. This guy is not only a genius when it comes to marketing and how business works and basically economics as well, but he also happens to be extremely grateful for everything he has in his life and a wonderful model as far as encouraging others to seek their own path and to be confident and to be strong and to make a solid decision. You can't beat this guy with the passion that he has for what he does every single day of the week. It's really inspiring to watch him work. So think about that. You have the same opportunity. And maybe you don't have an audience all around the world, but you do have an audience in your immediate life, your family, your friends. Maybe you have children. Maybe you have brothers and sisters. Maybe you have cousins. Maybe you just have colleagues that you work with. Sometimes one person can completely change the environment of a workplace. Just one person, if they're strong enough, if their sphere of influence is strong enough. And I'll tell you, from my own personal experience, I've seen it work well, really well, and bring teams together. The trick is you have to be consistent. You have to stay the course, and sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes people just beat you up, and you come to the end of the day and you're thinking, what am I doing? Why am I even bothered? I don't want to be grateful for that. Well, here's one of the tricks. When the world beats you up, or you experience anything in your life that you don't like, all you have to do is say thank you. Now what? Why would I say thank you? Because the world, life just showed you exactly what you don't want. Now the secret is then to take that and go the opposite way. Stop looking at it. Stop talking about it. Stop thinking about what you don't want and focus on what you do want. And guess what? Just by doing that, not only will you feel better almost immediately, but you will provide a better model for the rest of the world. You will show the benefit of focusing on what you want and being a good role model. See, there used to be a time where people took pride in being a good role model. And then along came celebrities, and then along came politicians, and then along came sports celebrities who were too cool. I don't want to be a role model. I want to be the bad boy. I mean, we're talking way back. Go back as far as Joe Namath. Look that name up. I mean, it was really weird because Joe Namath was publicly a womanizer, and he did drugs and alcohol the night before big games, Super Bowls, right? And then on the TV, all those parents of those kids throughout the nation and the world would be saying, go Joe, you can do it, come on Joe, we love you. And then they would turn in the same breath to their kids and say, don't do drugs, don't drink, don't womanize, don't sleep around, have a good reputation, be a good boy, go Joe. It just doesn't make any sense at all. So as a good role model, you'd have to look at Joe Namath and say, hey, I wish him well on his journey, and that's a curious choice, but it's not my preference. I'm not interested in not only living that way, but I wouldn't encourage others to live that way too. I know what that can lead to. I know the trouble that it can cause and the emptiness inside that it could cause. And maybe that's even why he did that. Who can say? The important point is that there was a time in the world where people took pride in being a good person, and being a good Samaritan, in being a good model. Now, why is this important for the richest you? Because the attitude of gratitude is what you need to hang on to the most, the more money you make. Because the more money you make, the more strange people will act toward you. That you may not change that you're a good person. You may still be very generous and be very kind and helpful to other people and help other people find their dreams too. But others may judge you just because you have money. So you have to learn how to keep that attitude of gratitude for them showing you what you don't want again and staying focused on what you do want. It's absolutely vital. Now, here's another good example of how far the world has gone in terms of being ungrateful. And this is not limited to just millennials. This is a really important point. There were kings in the 1500s, the 1600s, 1700s, and even before that, who didn't have near the comfort, the creature comfort and convenience that low-income people have right now today in this country in particular, in the United States in particular. Low income, we've got homeless people in Southern California who have cell phones and who have tents and who have laptops and access to free internet and food banks and free clothing. There were kings that didn't have those kinds of conveniences, least of all the technology, let alone the access to actual clean drinking water or food on a regular basis, because when the crops didn't do so well, guess what? The king went hungry too. The whole village or the whole kingdom went hungry. Everybody went hungry after a while. You'd ration food out, but the fact of the matter is people went hungry. People died of disease. Just think, right now, we don't have the Black Plague. We don't have scarlet fever wiping out millions of people all around the world. So even today, even if you're low income and you have nothing right now and you're watching this video, you still should have an attitude of gratitude for how far all the people before you have brought the world, and technology and finance and economics and politics and religious freedom and freedom of speech. In a kingdom, if you bummed out the king, you were dead. They could take your life for any particular reason because the law from the king was their word. They were divine. They were connected to the Creator. That means that anything they said was law. It didn't matter what was written down. If they changed their mind, that was it. That was the law. By decree of the king, the law has been changed to he can do whatever he wants to you whenever he wants to, whether you like it or not. If you live in this kingdom, then that's what you have to put up with. So just think about that for a second. You actually, even as a low-income individual, have more rights, more power, and more access to resources than royalty throughout most of history in the world. So you should absolutely have an attitude of gratitude right this second for all of the things that are available to you. The other thing you should take into consideration too, especially in the United States, and I know this from my own personal experience working in the industries that help this, you have access to free education in many areas, especially for 0 to 5, state-funded preschool, or how about those food banks, or how about energy assistance programs, or how about all of the different types of community action programs that are out there that help people who just need a hand up. So that stuff was never around before. When in history before that, if you didn't have, you just went without, and you either figured it out or you were, on your own. That's tough. They didn't care. They didn't have those types of programs. They didn't have Medicare and Medicaid. They didn't have Social Security, and even those things are failing. They didn't have that stuff. You should be grateful just to have that, live in a country where they provide that stuff. How about be grateful for the fact that you live in a country where people think that way? They work so hard that they have extra, and then they think, you know what? I'm so grateful for the abundance in my life because I'm wealthy that I'm happy to help other people. See, that's another thing. A lot of folks don't remember that most philanthropy is actually done by and paid for by rich people. People who actually are grateful for the wealth and the good luck that they've had in their life. You should be grateful that there are so many people who are wealthy that like helping other people like you. They're not all greedy and selfish. Most rich individuals are extremely generous. The trick is they're careful who they give to. They're careful to make sure that someone doesn't abuse that privilege. They are always looking for individuals who have an attitude of gratitude. And now that you've seen this video, you can be that person. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, please definitely give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We would love to have you back for all of the other videos that we make. And of course, any ones we make new. But even better is if you have a comment about this video or a question, make sure you mention it in the comments down below. And if you really want to learn how money works and master your own finances, then definitely click on the link in the description for the Richest You Mastering Money course. I'm Tom from the Richest You, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again on the next video.